And we jump right back to the topic of Russia, perhaps playing intermediary between Israel and Iran now. And luckily, my team navigated the technical issues. We have John Hardie back again, the director of the Russia Program, Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Definitely wanted to have this conversation with you. Look, what are your thoughts on this as we got cut off before about how credible these reports are that Russia may be actually a functional connection between these two enemies?
Well, thanks for having me on. I think your word functional is apt. The Russians approach the Middle East with what they call a multi-vectored foreign policy, which means you maintain ties, you're able to talk with basically all parties, Sunni, Shiite, Arab, Israeli, the Iranians, and Israel. And so you're able to kind of navigate, and you can serve as an intermediary in these types of situations. Back during the 12-day war last year, the Russians tried to play that role and were famously rebuffed by President Trump. Perhaps they're being a little bit more successful this time around.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned, June, the 12-day war. The Russians were essentially absent, for the fall of Assad. They appeared to be absent, for the removal of Iran's nuclear program back in June. What sway does Russia have anymore anywhere, really, in the Middle East?
Right. So what Russia can offer is being kind of a rare major power who can, like I said, talk to all sides. What it lacks is, frankly, the military wherewithal of the United States, and frankly, even the regional kind of punching power of Israel. And really, for Russia, the Middle East is of secondary importance, especially while you have this war going on in Ukraine. So the Russians are not going to risk their skin, nor are they frankly capable of say, stopping a U.S. intervention or an Israeli intervention against Iran.
That's remarkable, but I mean, the facts have played that out. Look, what's Russia up to here, really? Are they trying to get into the better graces with the Trump administration by playing this sort of Israel-Iran role? What appears to be their real interest?
I think by positioning themselves as the power that can talk to all sides, you create some influence, some cachet within the region. And yes, you can use the Iranian card, the ability to have some sway over Iran as a form of currency with the Trump administration. That's certainly something President Trump has tried to do as he looks to sway Trump towards being more on Russia's side in these talks with Ukraine.
Now, again, we touched on this at the beginning. I mean, the ties between Tehran and Moscow, very strong, at least that's how I'd characterize it. I mean, how battle loss to Russia would it be if this regime falls in Tehran?
Yeah, so I think the partnership between the Russians and the Iranians is certainly important. It's grown since 2015, and especially since 2022. We've seen a lot of military hardware go from Iran to Russia, especially the drones Russia used to bombard Ukrainian infrastructure. But Russia now produces those itself. I don't think it would be a major loss to the Russian war effort if the regime were to collapse. And I think in general, Russia does not want to go all in on Iran. It tries to maintain ties with the Arab and Israel. So it'd be a loss. I don't think it would be devastating to Russia's primary objectives in Ukraine or kind of its broader foreign policy in the Middle East.
Fascinating angle here. John Hardie, thanks for being with us again. Glad we got you on the program.